Welcome back to World Spotlight TV. Today we will talk about Andrew Carnegie, who was a successful businessman and philanthropist. He used his fortune to support social causes such as public libraries, education, and international peace. Before continuing, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Despite not being an American citizen, Carnegie was at one point the wealthiest American in history. The beginning of Andrew's journey takes place in Scotland's Dunfermline, where he was raised in conditions that can only be characterized as utter destitution. His mother would sew shoes around the clock. His father would construct weaving looms and other materials. In 1848, the Carnegie set out in search of a better life outside Scotland after selling all of their possessions and borrowing £20. The family embarked on their journey to the land of opportunity, America. They would restart their lives from scratch in Pittsburgh, the hub of manufacturing, but still found themselves unable to escape hardship in their new country. Andrew no choice but to drop out of school to support his family. As a messenger boy he would deliver telegrams by bike all over Pittsburgh. He would memorize the faces of everyone he delivered to so that he could greet them by name if he saw them outside of work. It would provide Carnegie with a unique opportunity to familiarize himself with the city's business community. At 17, he could recite messages without needing to write them down. This caught the eye of Thomas Scott, a regional manager for the Pennsylvania Railroad Company, who hired Carnegie to be his personal telegrapher and private secretary for the sum of $35 a month. Tom Scott realized Carnegie's potential and decided to take the boy under his wing, mentoring him like a second father. During the American Civil War, Carnegie is drafted into the Union, but instead of fighting in the war, Carnegie would profit from it. It was during this time that Carnegie noticed that the wooden bridges were easily burnt by the troops and that there was a desperate need for iron bridges to replace them. He capitalized on the opportunity, launching the Keystone Bridge Company, but Keystone didn't just build bridges, they also had their very own iron mills which provided the iron that was needed for constructing the bridges. A new invention by Henry Bessemer called the Bessemer converter, a pear-shaped furnace, would allow for the mass production of steel, something previously thought to be impossible. For the first time ever, it would finally become feasible to create large structures from steel, eventually giving birth to the first skyscrapers, forever transforming a city's skyline. Carnegie moved with lightning speed, successfully building America's first steel plants. In doing so, he hired the best engineers and architects that money could buy. He focused maniacally on increasing efficiency, always using the latest technology and pushing his employees to their maximum physical and mental capabilities. He was also notorious for acquiring employees to work 364 days a year, only allowing for rest on the 4th of July. As technology continued to advance, he would seek ways to replace his workers with machines at every possible opportunity. Unlike men, machines didn't need sleep. They also didn't ask for raises, and they certainly did not try to unionize. Carnegie, a master salesman, decided to name the venture not Carnegie Steel but rather J. Edgar Thomson Steel Works, the name of one of his customers in the railroad industry. Carnegie hoped a steel mill named after a customer would show his appreciation for their business and maybe even secure more orders from their railroad, and it did. To help run Carnegie steel mills, he would bring on board a cutthroat executive, known for his ruthlessness and attention to the bottom line, Henry Clay Frick. As a team, Carnegie and Frick were a powerful force to be reckoned with. Meanwhile, when the workers refused Frick's aggressive demands for longer hours and less pay, he decided to lock out all employees and bring in a substitute group of immigrant workers who would be willing to do their dangerous jobs for less. To escort the immigrant workers as they made their way to the factory, Frick called on a 300-person army for hire called the Pinkertons, armed with rifles. They made their way to the factory where they were met by 10,000 angry strikers refusing to give up what they called home. Historians don't know who fired the first gunshot. By the end of the battle, 9 factory workers and 7 Pinkertons died and hundreds were injured. In 1901, Carnegie grew tired of the game and wanted to spend time with his wife and daughter. Financier J.P. Morgan was a rising competitor in the steel industry. And Carnegie, now nearing 70, became open to the idea of selling the company he'd spent his entire life building. Charles Schwab, the president of Carnegie Steel, delivered the offer to Morgan. Morgan bought Carnegie Steel for $480 million, making Carnegie the single richest man in the world at the time. Over the course of his life, he would donate over 2,500 libraries to cities all around the world. But it wasn't all self-promotion. He was generous for generosity's sake. His name was only displayed on less than 500 of those libraries. One example of his generosity is Carnegie Hall, one of New York's most recognizable landmarks, built in 1891. How can a man commit such sins and then become a saint? Perhaps he viewed donating his money as a way to atone for his business sins. Making money is a great feeling, but an even better feeling is giving it away. I sincerely hope you enjoy this video. If you have any requests or recommendations, just leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel.